All right. So what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna show you guys about factions, and today we're gonna make a faction, and we're going to do some things like we're gonna add our two NPCs to the faction that we're gonna make. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna right click in the faction tab. Excuse me, I need to explain, and then we're gonna click new. Right? Then over here, we're gonna click in this left tab over here. We're gonna right click again and hit new. And then we're gonna give an ID for the uh, the faction that we're gonna make. So I'm going to call these guys the Scrap Rats faction. Is that faction or action? That is faction. Let me do it again just in case. All right. So now that that's done, I always hit OK first, and then I go back into editing it. So now, right here, you can choose if you want them to be evil, allow sell. I believe this allows them to sell you items. I'm just gonna check that because one of the members of this faction is a vendor. Track crime means like if you harm or kill a member in the faction, then other members of the faction will remember. So if you go to like another location and there's faction members in that location, they'll try to attack you because you attacked one of their members. All right? And this is the name. I don't think this really matters because it doesn't appear anywhere. And then right here is where you can choose like which of the other factions that they're either friends with or enemies with. So we'll get into that later when we make an enemy faction of this faction. But for right now, one thing that I always like to do is I like to take the same exact faction that I made and then make them allies with or friends, make them friends with their own faction. All right? So after I do that, I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to hit save. And then I'm going to go back to my NPCs. So it was Fred. I'm going to double click him. And then I'm going to come over to this tab right here, Factions. I'm going to right click in here, go to New. And then we're going to select our faction that we made. So boom, he's in the faction. And then now let's add Rodney to the faction. And in our AI data, put this one. Helps friends and allies. So whenever, his friends get attacked, he will help them. All right, let me make sure that I did it for this guy as well. Helps friends and allies. All right, good. All right. And another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the data of this house. And instead of making the owner Rodney, I'm going to make the faction the owner. So what we're going to do eventually is we're going to make it so that the player can join the faction. And then once they join the faction, they'll be able to have access to all the items that's in the house, and it won't count as stealing. All right, so now I'm going to go back to my factions tab, and I'm going to create another faction. And we'll just call this the Dust Moles faction. Put a name if you want. Like I said, I'm not exactly sure if this appears anywhere. And then we'll go here, and then we'll put the Dust Moles faction. There's their friend, and then we'll go to new again, and then we'll select the Scrap Rats faction, and then we'll make them an enemy. So anytime somebody from the Dust Moles faction sees somebody from the Scrap Rats faction, they will attack each other. Alright? And we'll just make them evil because they're evil. Alright? And we'll make them sell too, because maybe we'll make some quests where we could join them or something. I don't know. Alright? And what I'll do again is I'll take our kill target and I'll add them to that faction. Alright. There we go. And hit save. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate me putting two NPCs in the world who are opposite factions and then just showing them kill each other. You'll basically just know, if you put these two NPCs who are in opposite factions and those opposite factions are enemies with each other, they will attack each other. Alright. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy the ID of this faction. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our quest where we have to do the kill quest for Rodney. And then what we'll do is we'll make it so that once we complete the quest, we'll get added to his faction. So we'll add in this result script. Player dot add to faction space the ID of your faction space 1, like that, I believe. All right. So once we complete his quest, we'll be added to the faction, and then we'll be able to use his stuff, and then we'll be able to use that terminal without it having red letters over it. All right. So let me just jump in game really quickly to demonstrate. All right. So here we are in game. As you can see, if I interact with the terminal, it's red, and this stuff is stealable. Things like that. Oh, I think that workbench is causing a lag for me. Okay. I gotta remove that. It's that mod. Okay. So I'm gonna talk to him right now. And then, got any work? And he's gonna, point us to that quest that we made earlier. And we're just gonna do that really quickly. So let's go back outside here. Let's actually make our quest active. Okay. So it is. Okay, hopefully that wasn't too loud. Alright, so after we kill him, we're gonna go back, talk to him, and then we're gonna complete that quest. Alright. And now that we completed it, and the stage of the quest is set to 30, which means we completed it, we should be added to the faction, as you can see. And now we're able to freely use this terminal, as well as access all the storage. Let me stay away from that workbench before it lags me out. And then, I could just pick up any of the items that's in here because I'm part of the faction now. Alright? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this video helps you out. I almost forgot. If you want to remove the player from faction, you would just type in player.remove from faction space, then the name of the faction you want to remove them from. And if you want to add an NPC to a faction, you would just type in the same commands that you do for the player, but replace player with the name of that NPC's reference. So if you want, if you have a follower and you want them to be able to join the faction with you, that's how you would do that. All right? So it's all right here on the wiki in case you're wondering. So that's about it. See you guys later.